Friends, somehow we have landed at the end of August, which means it's time for another tour. Now, one thing that's kind of interesting that is happening a little bit on its own is I've somehow landed with a color scheme for fall that I actually didn't anticipate when I first started planning this garden, which is unusual for me because usually I'm a stickler. But I feel like the theme for this fall that's coming in is like antique rose, like an aged white, and a little pop of green, light green. Okay, I'm gonna take you to my front border and let's show you some awesome grasses that are just killing it right now. Let's go. So my front border right now is actually one of the things that I'm, funny enough, really happy with. It is not complete by any stretch of the imagination, but we finally have tassels on this little bunny. This is Sedum little bunny, and it is just this beautiful, well-behaved, lovely little grass, has these cute bottle brushes. And what's so interesting is there's just like a slight tiny hair to them that gives it this really cool iridescent look, especially as we were getting some late day sun coming in. So this is one of the very first pieces of fall interest that I am absolutely loving, and it's the perfect complement to everything else that's going on in here. We have the Origeron. Actually, check this out. I looked back at the last tour video I did, and my sedums had yet to pop, but look at them. Sedum Autumn Joy. This is, again, you know how like I was saying, it's like an accidental color scheme. I am finding so much of this antique rose in the garden, and it's like the very perfect, most perfect color match in the entire world. I mean, look at this. This is like, this is not even funny. I don't even know how this happened, but this is the most perfect color match. So color story in the front border is awesome. And actually what I've done is the other day when I was at the nursery grabbing a couple things for fall, I actually grabbed 2 more grasses for this area. So I'm not sure exactly where I'm going to put them just yet. Probably one over here where I have an empty spot, another one on that end. But slowly but surely, she's coming together. I want to show you one other grass. Oh, also, on our way, let's just take a look at this. This is the beautiful Origeron, and I am just obsessed. I'm obsessed with it. It's doing everything I want it to do. It's a little bit of color, it's floral, it's got movement, checks all of the boxes. Oh, and drought tolerant? Yes, please. Loving it. Okay, I want to show you something else. This is my Sedum Carly Rose, which is like ridiculously tall. I mean, it's like 4 feet tall. I don't know what happened here. I swear I didn't fertilize that much. But this is Sedum Carly Rose, and I'm going to bend it down. This is just, the calling card to this one is this antique rose. They call this a bottle brush style tassel, and it is beautiful. And I actually started with just 3 of these plants, but I knew I wanted a bunch in here. So I literally hacked them in half. I am like the queen of if I can divide it, I do it. Because for me, there's so much joy in watching things fill in. And if I can get a free plant, of course I'm gonna divide it. Of course I'm gonna propagate it. Why not? So Sedum Carly Rose adding so much life to my fall garden right now. Friends, I wanna do another update on my little centerpiece bowl here. This is like the gift that keeps on giving. Honestly, this was such a low investment, and this has been possibly the most low maintenance part of my garden. It's required nothing of me. And I do mean absolutely nothing of me. We have not watered it since June, July. When do we even do this? I think we've watered it twice, and I haven't touched it since. And it is just lovely. The sedum is finally coming into bloom. We've got more of this dusty rose going on. Great texture with the sedums in here. I mean, honest to goodness, I need to figure out how to overwinter this because not all of these specimens are going to do well in our climate over winter. But I do have a grow light set up in the basement, so I'm going to see how it does down there. But A+, performing like gangbusters. Still love it. Still a great centerpiece. Next up, I want to show you a new addition to the garden. I haven't even had a chance to plant it yet, but I want to show you what I've decided and what I'm bringing in. So here is my newest addition to the garden. This is my favorite anemone of all time. This is Honorine Joubert. And I have 3 of them that I think I'm gonna plant here for now. I'm playing with adding another one behind me and also one along that side of the house. I'll kind of show you that location here in a minute. But the thing, if you've never planted this, this is a fall blooming anemone. Honorine Joubert is hardy down to zone 4, which is incredible. And I didn't mention this earlier, but Little Bunny that I planted out front, that one is hardy down to zone 5. I know a couple of people were asking about hardiness zones for some of these fall interest items. So there you go, I'm doing my best. In any event, this is absolutely gorgeous. Now it looks small in, you know, the pot in the can right now, but actually when this thing grows, just to get you a size reference for scale, the foliage canopy, the foliage will stay right around here, okay? So kind of filling in this lower layer. However, these flower spikes are gonna get easily 3 to 4 feet tall. I mean, and I do mean easily 3 to 4 feet tall. What's also really cool is as this anemone loses all of its petal, you're even left with this cute, do you see this little tiny button in there? That's what you're left with. You're left, except it gets, of course, much bigger, but you're left with this little tiny button on top of these long wispy stems. I just absolutely love it. So even when it loses all of its petals, it's still this really cool texture in the garden. So Honorine Joubert, new addition, and I can't wait to have just massive amounts of fall interest right here. I'm gonna pop over here and I wanna show you a grass that I'm really not impressed with right now. It probably is more me than the grass, but I'm not impressed. So friends, this is Nella Tenuissima. This is also known as Mexican feathergrass, and I am not liking it. I'm just not. It's not fitting the energy of the garden. It's not doing what I want it to do. I may try it down in the cut flower garden by my Rudbeckia, because the thing that I do love is I love how it pairs with my Echinacea White Swan. I love these two together. It's such great movement, and it's possible that I just didn't get out here and groom this well enough. I totally missed the window for the seed heads, and I should have been out here just really raking this thing through to make sure it stays nice and wavy, and instead it's just kind of forming a mat. So these are probably going to go. I'm probably going to recreate this area a little bit, which is kind of fun for me actually, because I never like a static garden. I love having a new project. I love having new things to do. So this will find a new home, potentially somewhere else on our property, potentially in someone else's garden. Okay, let's go this way. So here we are, Limelight Hydrangea. She is entering what I think is her prime. And do you see what I mean by this accidental color scheme I have going on of all of this antique rose? I really am loving this. It's like feminine and lovely. And honestly, I love it when it gets this little kiss of pink on it. It just looks like perfection. Oh, and this kind of back behind here, this is the other location I'm thinking about for the Honorine Joubert, because I love the idea that I would have some wispiness over here. It would tie in some of the bright white over there. So still playing with locations, but I think that this right here would be a really like prime territory. Okay, the other thing that this little dusting of rose is doing on this Limelight right now is actually tying in my Echinacea behind me. In case you missed it, this is the Echinacea purpurea. So this is just kind of like this straight species. It's not a hybrid. It's nothing fancy. This is like, it's the OG. This is the OG Echinacea. And this one, if you really love to support pollinators and birds and all that kind of stuff, this one will actually produce quite a bit of nectar, seeds, pollen, all of that good stuff. So this is a really good one for wildlife. When you get into some of the hybridized varieties, they lose a little bit of that potency, but here's the deal. You do you, but this is why I have it in my veggie garden. Friends, it's time to visit the vegetable garden because I am trying something new. And so far, I really like it. So here we are in my veggie garden. So here's the scoop. We had a huge wave of rain and cold temperatures come through for the last 2 weeks. We are getting a little bit of heat this week, but I think we are in for an early fall. In response to some of the really hot days and temperatures that we've been having here, of course, with the exception of the last 2 weeks, I wanted to try something new, and I am trying this wheat straw. Now, this is straw that has been stripped of all of the seed heads, so I'm not applying this and running the risk of having a wheat field grow here. However, I was doing some research, and apparently this is really good for moisture retention. And I'm just trying to be smarter about how I'm watering my spaces and also what kind of nutrients I'm feeding back to this soil. So this has been a really interesting experiment. I'm going to test it out, obviously, this year. I think I'm going to test it out next year, because even when we've had these long stretches, what happens is check this out. Look at all of this moisture. I have my drip tape buried right here. And would you look at this beautifully soft earth going on under here? This is stunning. And when I have dug into it, it is like buttery soft. It is awesome. What I am hoping this will do is 2 things. I'm hoping that as I keep this on over the winter, it will help prevent washout of nutrients. And then I'm also hoping that by this stuff breaking down over the next few months, I'm just adding an additional layer of valuable nutrients back to my soil. But so far, I actually think I'm going to cut the irrigation here and really test drive this and see how it performs. Now, to my left here, you can see, despite all of the bunny damage, look at this. I have the tiniest little green bean harvest of all time. You guys, so pathetic. This is just, it's a little tragic. However, you know what? I'm gonna let her buck. We're gonna see what happens. The thing that has been going really great is all of my leeks. I'm kind of harvesting this back. I'm getting prepared to take this row of leeks down completely and bring in my fall crops. So I think that's the big update for up here, but I think it's time for us to now go on to the back, because there's been some fun stuff happening in the cut flower garden. So let's go. Okay, friends, quick update before the cut flower garden. Here are the garbage planters. Branching sunflowers. Totally did not really do anything. So kind of a bust there, but look at this incredible foliage. And I could easily pop these out right now and put something else in, but look at this. The Alyssum is gorgeous. Over here, the zinnias, the scavola, the petunias, I mean, the whole thing, honestly, this was A+ work. This is incredible for just spending a few dollars. And I honestly hope that showing this to you guys gives you a little inspiration that you don't have to be a millionaire to have a gorgeous planter. You just need a couple solid plants, and maybe it's like a death row rescue for you. Okay, let's go look at my other flowers. Friends, bunny update, August 29th, 2024. This is where this little mongrel was getting in. I found that he was actually coming in through here, and look at this. Look at this. He's totally tried to dig down. Did you see that? Because this was not like this before. So he was coming in here, and I can tell he's been digging down here just because all these little scratch marks were not here before. But we brought the chicken wire all the way up. We zip tied it to the other piece of chicken wire that we had in here. And so far, so good. But I'm not holding my breath because this bunny is determined, but so am I. Okay, cue Elmer Fudd. So friends, I want to run you through 2 additions to the cut flower patch this year. This first one is Yarra Falls. I picked this one up at my wholesaler, and it is gorgeous. And every single flower is different. And I kind of love these. They're so whimsical. They're so fun. Look at this one here. This one gets really deep in the center. Really, really beautiful. And so I have been enjoying this. I grew Avignon last year, actually the last 2 years, and I just found like Avignon, it wasn't doing a good job of like standing up straight. It was hard to work with. Not a fan. Anyways, this next one, I think this is literally my Dalia of the year. This is Otto's Thrill. This thing is a beast and a half, and I don't even know if it's doing it justice. These petals are so pearlescent and gorgeous. Look at this one down here. Look at this absolute beast of a dahlia. It is magical. It is so gorgeous. And this one I think is my favorite to bloom so far. And I'm gonna say it. I think I like it better than Cafe au Lait. Boom. You heard me. Okay, I hope she's not listening. So I have my adorable branching sunflowers that have like survived all bunny attempts in front of this dahlia. Now, I have this one marked as Joey Winnie, but she is giant. So either this Joey Winnie is gonna turn out to be a monster, or it's some other variety that I didn't do a good job of labeling. But I am minutes from more dahlias in my garden. And the next thing I'm going to show you is one of my favorite dahlias of all time and eternity. I love this dahlia. The color is perfection. It's like right on schedule. It's perfect for the autumn. This, my friends, is brown sugar. I can't even describe how much I love this dahlia. It has everything I want. It's a ball. It's workable. It has long stems. It's a gorgeous color. I mean, I'm pretty solidly in an orange phase of my life, and this thing is singing my song. This actually, I had purchased one tuber and I divided it into 2 plants. And so, oh, actually, no, I divided it into 3. Yes. Okay. I thought I divided it into more. I have 3 of these baby plants. This one has its first bud. This one is about ready to go gangbusters, and this little guy is already performing. I'm a happy girl. After all of the failures, the fact that I have this dahlia is making me extremely happy. I think I should show you a more unusual one. I'm going to show you an unusual one next. Here she is. This is a dahlia called River Dance. And here is the story on this one. I actually got this from a woman who used to work for my wholesale nursery. And so I was in there, I was talking to my friend Whitney about, you know, this, that, and the other thing, and cut flower garden and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, oh, I have a dahlia for you. And she gave me actually a couple of these tubers. And this is what it has become. Now, River Dance is one that I have never seen for sale, and it kind of feels like a crying shame because this thing is stunning. So when it first emerges, these are all older blooms, but when it first emerges, it has like a tight little button in the middle. And then as it ages, it gets more and more petals in the middle. Almost like this. This is even a little stunted. But then it just goes from being this dark red right here to blowing out with like a hit of coral in it. It is so lovely. And as you can see, not only is it producing like gangbusters in the garden, I mean, this thing is covered in blooms, but it has incredible deep foliage and it produces tubers like nobody's business. I mean, honestly, I couldn't even keep all these. I gave dozens of tubers away. This one is fantastic, and I don't understand why more people don't grow it. It's phenomenal. Okay, now coming down here, okay, I'm about ready to show you a plant with no blooms on it, but here's the deal. This is Sweet Natalie, and she is finally covered in blooms. I have owned this dahlia for, I think, 3 years, at least 3 years. And I have never once gotten a bloom off this sucker. And I just keep holding on to it. I plant it every year. It gets green. Nothing happens. You know, all that to say, the fact that I have over a dozen buds on this plant, it's like a miracle. It is a miracle. Friends, it is time for a mum update. These are my heirloom mums. I will link the video below, but they are awesome. Also, can we take, this thing is 5 feet tall. This is crazy. They are going. And I've been looking for blooms. I've been down here searching. This one is, I think, my first one off the block. I'm not seeing a whole lot of other buds just yet, but I cannot wait. And by the way, the reason we found out that that was still a hole that was being accessed is because I have 2 more mums down here, and I will show you. Look at this. This thing has just been eaten to a nub. And it is so disheartening. This one right down here, look at this. Move that out of the way. This thing literally is a nub. So all I'm left with from that gorgeous, gorgeous little mom is this nugget. That's it. That's it. That's all that darn bunny left me. Okay. Should we look at something pretty? Should we look at some snapdragons? Okay. Friends, welcome to late day in the snapdragon patch. Now, I have grown snapdragons for a couple years now, and I feel like I'm narrowing down the ones that I really love. But let's start here. This is Potomac Ivory. The Potomac series I have found grow incredibly long stems. They're super productive. As you can see right here with this one that I pinched back, look at this. We can come down here and we've got multiple branches coming out. And these ones are just absolutely sensational in the vase. They are lovely and just absolutely, this is a staple. The ivory is gorgeous. Next, down here, we get to Potomac Lavender. This one is another that I think is so beautifully, it plays with a lot of other colors. And even when you look in here, you have the teeny tiniest bit of yellow right there at the throat. And so I feel like it's such a dynamic flower. This next one is a newer variety to me. This one is Costa Apricot. This one is a very barely there baby pink. What I'm noticing about it though, and this is why I love to experiment with new varieties, is the bloom stalk is not nearly as tall as, say, my Potomacs. So do you see how that is just like a huge panicle, like just amazing, amazing height. Over here, I feel like my Costa Silvers are quite small. So gorgeous color, love it so much, but I think I like the Potomac series a little bit better. This one looks like a rogue white, but do you see how tall this is? This is easily 3.5 feet tall. Okay, now this is one that I wasn't sure I was gonna grow this year, but this is Potomac Royal. And it's just a super duper saturated pink. But you know what? I'm really glad I grew it because it is such a vibrant one. This actually looks really great with the gosh, what is it called? Otto's Thrill. It brings out some of the really deep raspberry tones in it. And so this one has been super duper fun to play with. Okay, here we are. Next. Okay, this is also really great because you can really see the difference. This is Costa Silver. And again, do you see how it's like more blocky? Like they all kind of bloom at once and then you're left with this teeny tiny tip. So I love the color of this Costa Apricot. I think it's interesting. But here's the deal. I am discovering that I think the Potomac series is really where it's at. Let me show you my other goodies that I got going on because the Madame Butterfly series are bananas this year. All right, friends, this is what happens when you don't stake your snapdragons. Okay, can you tell we ran out of steam? This, I will tell you though, oh my gosh, this one is one of my favorites of all time. Let me see if I can grab a bigger one. This is, again, the Potomac series, okay? Look at this beast and a half. This is Potomac Orange, and it is one of my favorites of all time. It is vibrant, it is lush, yet somehow it's really still super flexible. It's like bright without being obnoxious, you know what I mean? And this is just gorgeous. And so I've already cut a bunch of them. We're cutting more. Just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. This next section, look at that baby. This is the Madame Butterfly series. Now, this series is a mix, right? So some of them are more in these sunset shades. I've got this one here that looks more like that Potomac Royal, that really saturated pink. Oh my gosh, look at this one here. So gorgeous. And then look at this. We've got this like baby pink over here, which is adorable. Not necessarily my jam, but adorable nonetheless. And then this guy has gone over. But look how cute this is. This is my jam right here. So gorgeous. And then last but not least, this is Potomac Red. And I don't know if it's coming through on camera, but it is like yummy velvet. And then again, do you see the shape of that cone? It's very much like a panicle, right? This is the most deep, luscious, velvety red. Super yummy. I feel like this is going to be a great one for these fall arrangements as the season winds down. Okay, can we take a moment for some hilarity? Here we are. All of these gorgeous, gorgeous zinnias that got eaten. And do you know what's growing in its place? Look at this. I prepped this entire row, and what do I have? Tomatillos. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tomatillo plants. Oh, no, lied. 6 tomatillo plants. Like, what the heck? What the heck is even happening here? So I'm just going to let her buck, and we're going to see what happens. But 0 zinnias. But all these tomatillo plants is ridiculous. But here's something else kind of cool. Look at this. I was like, what is this seedling? You guys, it's a dahlia. It's 2 dahlias, actually. And a snapdragon from last year. What the heck is even happening here? Does it even have a garden bed like this where you're just like, where did all this stuff come from? It is just pure madness. And then as we come down here, I do have to show you, this was that crazy dahlia that I had no idea where it came from. And I think this is actually one of the ones that we tried to start from seed. I mean, look at this thing. So it's very much an open center. It's not that beautiful standard that a lot of people like to see, but guess what? I grew her. She survived the desert down here, and so she stays. And I think she's really pretty. It is almost time for me to go inside. However, I wanted to give you a last container update for this little patio down here. It is crazy. It is crazy. I'm actually not impressed with the petunias that are going on in my square planters. They are like pooping out. I'm not into them. They look gross. But what's really cool about these containers is I had one grass that was growing taller than the other one. And I thought maybe it was due to sun conditions. And so I literally just like switched them in place. I rolled them back and forth. So I'm going to show you the grasses. Admittedly, the petunias look like garbage. And I wonder if it's the variety. I'm not digging them. All right, here are these petunias. I am like not a fan. I was so excited about the color. And then look what they've done. They've just absolutely, they got spindly and pooped out. Not into them. However, the Artemisia is looking amazing. And the grass, this one has finally made it past the top rung, which I love. And just for comparison, there's that other grass barely making it. And here's this guy, just crazy. It's officially taller than me by a lot. These containers, on the other hand, are so fun. Okay, the year of the banana. It's the year of the banana. I am still loving these combinations. And it's so funny because I feel like they're aging really well. And here's what I mean. I mean, we are literally heading into fall, and these colors were vibrant for the summertime and like so perfect for the fall. I am loving it. Loving it. The next thing I want to show you is the backdrop to my little sofa here. This thing is awesome. I need to still get in here and do some deadheading, but this coleus, I mean, I remember planting this and I was like, guys, I don't feel very good about planting coleus because it's so dang hot here. And every single one of you were right that chimed in and were like, nope, we love our sun coleus. And you were on it. You were 100% right. And just gorgeous sweet potato vine with just this feathery texture here of the lotus vine coming through. This was such a fun one. And these were supposed to get the same height as my zinnias, and they've definitely outpaced them, but I'm kind of not mad at it. It's still gorgeous. Friends, thank you for wrapping up August with me. It has been just a whirlwind of a month. It's been hot. It's been rainy. It's been a little bit of everything. I feel like I've had some really great successes this growing season. And I know the growing season isn't over, but I can feel, and I don't know if any other gardeners are like me out there, but there's a certain kind of weight that's released when we move into fall. It's like we can relax knowing we have done our best. We have grown our garden. We have invested our time, our energy, and all of our love. And now we get to rest a little bit and prepare for the season to come. Okay. Thank you so much for watching. I'm going to see you in the next one. And in the meantime, please say hello to your garden for me.